INFJs are often called mysterious, deep, or rare. But what people don't talk about enough is just how intelligent they are. Not in the obvious way, like being the loudest in the room or winning every debate. INFJ intelligence runs deeper than that. It's quiet, complex, and easy to miss if you're only looking for surface-level signs. This type of intelligence doesn't always show up in school or social settings. INFJs might not raise their hand first in class. They might not dominate group conversations. But give them space to think, time to observe, and freedom to go deep, and you'll see how powerful their minds really are. What makes their intelligence different is how it blends several layers of thought. They mix emotional sensitivity with logic, long-term planning with intuition, and deep reflection with creativity. They're not trying to show off. They're trying to understand. And in that pursuit of understanding, they often outclass others without even meaning to. In fact, many INFJs don't realize how sharp they are until someone points it out. They're so focused on truth, meaning, and doing the right thing that they forget they're operating on a level most people never reach. That's what we're going to explore. In this video, we're breaking down 6 ways INFJs outclass others, not through competition, but through their natural way of thinking. These are not just personality quirks. They are forms of intelligence that shape how INFJs move through the world, solve problems, and connect with people on a level that's rare to find. Let's take a look at the powerful ways INFJ intelligence shows up, quietly, deeply, and unmistakably. Way number 1. They see hidden patterns. Before anyone else, INFJs don't just see what's in front of them. They see what's behind it, what's underneath it, and what's likely to happen next. This is one of their greatest mental strengths, something that makes them feel both gifted and isolated at the same time. This ability comes from their dominant cognitive function called introverted intuition. It allows them to take in scattered information, little details, emotional cues, events, trends, and connect it all into a bigger picture. They don't need to see every step to know where something is going. They just sense it. And more often than not, they're right. This skill isn't magic. It's mental pattern recognition, running behind the scenes at all times. While others are reacting to what just happened, INFJs are already thinking 5 moves ahead. They're constantly asking questions like, what does this mean? Where is this going? What's the real story here? They may not even know how they came to a conclusion. But the conclusion feels solid, like it clicked into place on its own. That's their intuition at work, gathering data, filtering out the noise, and forming insights no one else can see yet. This is why INFJs often notice red flags before anyone else does. It's why they predict future problems in relationships, work, or life decisions. They can see when something is off, even if they can't explain it. And later, when things fall apart, they're the ones quietly thinking, I knew this was coming. People sometimes dismiss INFJs for being overly cautious or too abstract. But that's because they don't understand how this mental process works. It's not fear, it's foresight. INFJs aren't guessing. They're reading the signs others ignore. This ability also shows up in how they understand people. They don't just hear what someone says. They read tone, body language, word choice, even what's not being said. Then they use all of that to figure out the deeper message, the hidden emotion, or the real intention. Because of this, INFJs often feel like they're living in 2 realities, the one everyone else sees and the one they see beneath it. It can be isolating, but it also gives them a serious edge, especially when it comes to problem solving, strategy, and big picture thinking. While others are stuck in the moment, INFJs are already seeing what's next. Way number 2, deep empathy gives them social insight. A lot of people think of empathy as just being kind or emotional. But for INFJs, empathy is a form of intelligence. It's not just about feeling for others, it's about reading them, understanding them, and knowing how to respond with insight and accuracy. INFJs naturally tune in to people's emotions, even when nothing is being said. They walk into a room and can sense tension, sadness, excitement, or fear before anyone speaks. It's like their mind has an emotional radar that's always scanning. This allows them to adjust quickly, offer support, or sometimes avoid conflict before it happens. This isn't manipulation or guesswork. It's observation paired with emotional data. INFJs notice facial expressions, pauses in speech, the tone of a text message, or the sudden change in someone's body language. Then, without needing to think it through, they understand what that person is feeling, often better than the person understands themselves. That kind of emotional accuracy gives INFJs a huge advantage in communication. They don't just respond, they respond in ways that make people feel seen, heard, validated. It's why they're often the friend others open up to, the colleague who knows how to handle tension, or the stranger who somehow knows exactly what to say in a moment of crisis. They don't do this to get praise. They do it because their brain is wired to care. But that caring isn't random. It's targeted, specific, and thoughtful. It's empathy sharpened into social intelligence. This insight also allows INFJs to read situations well. In meetings, they notice who's being left out. In friendships, they spot when someone is being fake. In arguments, they can often de-escalate things before they explode. All because they understand not just what people are doing, but what they're feeling. And this makes them excellent problem solvers in emotional environments. They can balance their own values with the needs of the group. They know when to speak and when to listen. They can guide conversations without making it about them. In relationships, this depth creates a level of closeness that many people aren't used to. They ask real questions. They want to know the whole truth. And when they listen, they really listen. This is why INFJs are often seen as old souls, or wise beyond their years. Their empathy isn't just kindness, it's a form of emotional intelligence that gives them social insight far beyond the average person. Way number 3, they learn independently and intensely, and INFJs are some of the most self-taught people you'll ever meet. While they can do well in school or formal settings, their real learning often happens alone. Quiet moments, personal research, and deep reflection are where their minds truly come alive. They don't just collect random facts. They go deep into topics that matter to them. When something catches their interest, they dive in. Not for a grade. Not to impress anyone. Just because they want to understand. They read, observe, analyze, and ask internal questions until they've built a full picture in their mind. This kind of intense learning usually follows a clear emotional or philosophical thread. They're not interested in learning just for the sake of it. They want information that connects to their values, their vision, or their understanding of life. That's why so many INFJs end up becoming quiet experts on specific subjects, often without any formal training. They also don't need a crowd to motivate them. In fact, they learn best when no one's watching. They'll stay up late reading articles, watching interviews, listening to podcasts, or writing down their thoughts. They'll connect pieces of knowledge from different places: spirituality, science, psychology, literature, and form a deeper meaning behind it all. Unlike people who learn in a straight line, INFJs often move in spirals. They revisit topics from different angles. They reflect months or years later on the same idea and come to new insights. Their learning process never really ends. It just deepens. This style of learning makes them flexible thinkers. They're able to apply abstract concepts to real situations. They don't just memorize, they internalize. They'll take something they learned from a novel or a documentary and apply it to a conversation, a relationship, or a personal challenge. And because they often struggle with surface-level advice or mainstream solutions, they usually end up creating their own paths. They research different views, weigh them against their values, and form their own philosophy. This gives them an inner authority that's hard to shake. Even when others disagree, INFJs usually know why they believe what they believe. Another thing that sets them apart is how they connect learning to empathy. If they're studying psychology, it's to help people. If they're reading philosophy, it's to understand suffering. If they're learning about culture, it's to connect more deeply. Their learning is always rooted in care. This independent and intense learning style gives them an edge in many areas. It makes them adaptable, well-informed, and quietly powerful. They may not shout their knowledge from the rooftops, but when they speak, you can tell it comes from a place of true understanding. Way number 4. They combine ideas creatively. Creativity or an INFJ doesn't always look like painting or performing. It's more about how they think, how they take ideas from different areas of life and blend them into something original. They're not just imaginative, they're mentally innovative. INFJs have this rare ability to combine intuition, emotion, logic, and long-term vision all at once. While most people use one or two of those lenses, INFJs are constantly flipping between them in real time. It's like running multiple programs at once in their mind. This makes their thoughts rich and layered. They don't just see one side of a situation. They see the structure, the emotion underneath, the social impact, and the spiritual or moral meaning all in one sweep. And then they start building something new from those pieces. This shows up in their writing, their problem-solving, their conversations, and even in how they give advice. INFJs can take an abstract idea and make it personal. They can take a deep emotional truth and explain it in a way that's logical. They can take something painful and turn it into something beautiful. That's the heart of their creative intelligence. This also makes them natural innovators in subtle ways. They may not chase the spotlight, but they're often the ones quietly suggesting new systems, new perspectives, or better ways to do things. Their insights tend to go beyond what's trendy or popular. They tap into what feels true, and that often means being ahead of their time. INFJs also draw from a wide range of influences. They don't limit themselves to one genre, one ideology, or one school of thought. They may be spiritual and scientific, artistic and analytical, realistic but idealistic. They find truth across disciplines, across cultures, and across emotional experiences. That blend gives their creativity a unique flavor. Their ideas feel fresh yet deeply rooted, simple yet profound. They might write something that seems ordinary on the surface, but carries a message that hits hard emotionally. They might offer a quiet suggestion that changes the direction of an entire project. This creative fusion also helps in relationships. They can see connections between people, ideas, and experiences that others don't. They know how to say things in a way that lands. They find language that bridges gaps. And they bring emotional intelligence into every creative move they make. What makes their intelligence powerful here is not just that they have ideas, it's that they build with them. They take pieces that seem unrelated and form something that feels whole, human, and healing. Way number 5. They think long-term, not just short wins. INFJs are always thinking beyond the moment. Whether it's a conversation, a life choice, or a personal goal, they're constantly asking, where is this going? What's the real impact? What will this mean later? While others might chase quick rewards or immediate praise, INFJs are drawn to decisions that reflect their long-term values. They're not just thinking about what works now, they're thinking about what matters in the long run. This future-oriented thinking shows up early in their lives. As kids, INFJs often feel older than their age. They think about what kind of life they want to live, what kind of people they want to become, and what kind of world they want to help create. That vision stays with them, even when life gets busy or chaotic. They often choose relationships, careers, and paths that align with their vision, not just their convenience. And if something doesn't match, they can feel it immediately. Even if everyone else says it's a good idea, if it doesn't feel right long-term, they'll walk away. This kind of decision-making takes strength. It means saying no to things that seem fine on the surface. It means walking a different path, often alone. But it also means INFJs avoid many of the regrets that come from rushed or shallow choices. They also apply this thinking to people. INFJs are able to see who someone could become, not just who they are now. They believe in potential, growth, and the ability to change. But they also don't tolerate the kind of behavior that holds back their vision for the future. They're compassionate, but not blind. At work or in personal projects, they think in systems. They plan ahead. They're strategic. They imagine what will happen if a certain path is followed, or what might be lost if a certain value is ignored. Their vision is what guides them, not pressure from others. And because they care deeply about meaning, INFJs often want their life to be about more than just success. They want impact. They want alignment. They want to live in a way that reflects their beliefs, even if it takes longer or comes with sacrifice. This long-term focus makes their intelligence stable and wise. They may not always move fast, but when they move with purpose. And over time, that kind of thinking outclasses every shortcut. Way number 6, they are excellent at meaningful communication. NFJs don't talk to fill space. They speak to connect. Every word they use is chosen with care. They think before they speak. They listen with their whole attention. And when they open their mouth, people often feel like they're hearing something that finally makes sense. What makes their communication powerful isn't volume or style, it's depth. INFJs have the ability to take complex thoughts or intense emotions and express them in a way that feels clear, calm, and personal. They don't just say things. They mean them. And that makes people listen. They're especially strong in writing. When they write, their thoughts often come out more smoothly. It gives them space to shape their ideas, reflect and express what they might hesitate to say out loud. Whether it's a letter, a journal, a message, or even a creative piece, INFJ writing tends to resonate because it carries feeling and insight. But they're not only strong on paper. In person, they often come across as calm, thoughtful, and sincere. They don't talk over others. They don't dominate discussions. But when they speak, they bring something valuable to the moment. They notice what others miss. They ask real questions. They respond with honesty and care. Because they're so tuned into people's emotions, they know how to say things in a way that doesn't just inform, but also comfort, challenge, or inspire. Their emotional and intuitive intelligence helps them adjust their words to fit the situation without losing authenticity. This makes them excellent at diffusing tension, mediating conflict, or offering support. They can explain something in a way that brings clarity to confusion. They can turn a complex topic into something relatable. And when someone is hurting, they often find the exact words that bring relief. INFJs also tend to avoid small talk, not because they're antisocial, but because it drains them. They would much rather dive into real topics, life, values, struggles, dreams. They want to connect soul to soul, not just exchange words. So when they find someone willing to have that kind of conversation, they light up. Their communication may be soft, but it carries weight. It stays with people. It plants ideas. It heals wounds. It inspires change. And it all comes from their ability to speak from both the mind and the heart at the same time. INFJs may not be the loudest voice in the room, but their words often echo the longest. INFJ intelligence doesn't always look like what we're used to. It's not loud. It's not flashy. And it's not about proving anything. But it's real and it's powerful. They see patterns most people miss. They feel emotions most people ignore. They learn on their own, in silence, and often reach insights that take others years to discover. They mix ideas from all parts of life and create something new. They plan with care and stay loyal to what matters. And when they speak, they do it with honesty, meaning, and purpose. This kind of intelligence isn't meant to outshine others. It's meant to serve, to guide, and to connect. That's what makes it so rare. If you're an INFJ, don't let the world convince you that your intelligence has to fit someone else's mold. Your way of thinking, feeling, and understanding is exactly what makes you valuable. Quiet power is still power. And in many ways, it's the kind the world needs most. Let us know which part of INFJ intelligence speaks to you the most. Or tell us what you've noticed about the way your mind works. And if you found this helpful, pass it on to someone who could use a reminder that their way of thinking is something to be proud of. Your mind is your gift. Use it well.